It's Tuesday, January 8th. Tonight, how the village of Pinehurst went from health spa to a golf mecca. Next on North Carolina Now.
Quality public television is made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNCTV.
Good evening, I'm Heather Burgess. Thanks for joining us. Tonight on North Carolina Now, we'll look at the inspiring story of one athlete preparing for the 2013 Special Olympics World Games. And we'll see how Asheboro artist Mike Durham turns recycled material into works of art. But we begin in Moore County. The village of Pinehurst is known as the home of some of the most prestigious golf courses in the world. But Jeff Smith shows us how the founding of Pinehurst in 1895 had very little to do with golf, but more with health and revitalization.
It all started over 100 years ago when a wealthy but unhealthy soda fountain company owner looked to retire and open a resort in the Mid-South.
James Walker Tufts founded the village of Pinehurst after he retired, and upon his retirement, he sold his portion of the American Soda Fountain Company for $700,000, which is a lot of money now. It was a lot of money then. And he had had a lifelong dream of having a health spa, a sort of a philanthropic endeavor.
Tufts knew there was a large need to help treat people in the Northeast dealing with consumption. Before he launched his bid to create Pinehurst, the sick were heading to Florida to rest and consume the abundant sunshine needed to recover.
He came here, bought 6,000 acres for an average of about $1.25 an acre, and decided to build his home, or his town. And it was modeled after a New England village, so it was always called a village, and it was meant to be a health spa. And into the second season or so, they discovered that consumption was actually tuberculosis, and it was contagious. So prior to that, he had written all the doctors and everybody up north and said, send your consumptives to us. So they immediately had to turn around and say, no consumptives are allowed. And guests who came immediately after that had to bring a health certificate that said that they were non-consumptive.
Since the sick were no longer welcome in his village, Tufts began inviting his wealthy friends to come and enjoy the new resort. Since the new guests were wealthy and healthy, the resort needed to offer plenty of activities for them to enjoy.
North Carolina was free-range country and game was plentiful, so they had a gun club. They played a roque, which is a version of sort of like a croquet with a short-handled mallet. They had horseback riding. They had a deer park with tame deer and pheasants and hares, all that sort of stuff. And so there was lots of recreation going on, and people began bringing golf balls and golf clubs right away.
So golf was being played, but not on the now famous courses. The original golf here was played in the cow pastures.
They were playing golf in the dairy pasture. And of course, they needed milk and butter and cream to feed the guests. And when the manager of the dairy came to James Walker Tufts and said, I think this golf is affecting milk production, they talked about building a course, and he was advised by some of his friends that it was a passing fancy. But he went ahead and decided to build a 9-hole course. And then the next year they built 9 more holes because people said it takes too long to golf.
Tufts invited Donald Ross to design, develop, and build the first courses. Ross lived in the village as well and was the head professional at the resort. Now you can still see the genius behind Ross's architecture at the Tufts archives.
A lot of people don't realize, they know Donald Ross was here, but they don't realize that we have his original drawings. We have the actual drawings that he made for several hundred of his courses. We've got them all scanned in there in books, and they can look at them. We've got them online in a virtual exhibit on our webpage. But people don't realize that we actually have that. We have a set of golf clubs that he made for his daughter. We have his sterling silver scorekeeper and just things like that. People don't realize that you can actually see things that belonged to Donald Ross.
As you explore the history in the Tufts archives, you may notice a green book on the shelf which gives current visitors to the village a walking history tour of James Walker Tufts' landmark town.
What we feature in this book is we have before and after pictures. A lot of these, of course, are pre-Hemmer. They were taken by other photographers, but we can show the original picture and we have the present day picture. And it's amazing how close they still look.
32 of the original 38 cottages built are still standing. Everything in this village is within walking distance, which is part of the reason for the walking tour book. But the compact design was intentional by Tufts as well.
And that was all part of the theory. To get well from the consumption, you needed fresh air, sunshine, and exercise. And the Holly Inn was built in the shape of an H, and every room had windows that you could open and get the fresh air and sunshine. All the cottages had porches, long porches along the front or back or the sides even, so that people could sit outside and take in the fresh air. And they also thought that the pine trees gave off ozone, which they were pretty close actually, and they thought that helped with their respiratory ailments.
The original look of the cottages, the golf course, the department store, and other buildings in the village are preserved in pictures, thanks to the Tufts family hiring professional photographer John Himmer. Himmer took photos of everyday life at the village and worked for the Tufts family for over 40 years. The Tufts Archives still owns the over 80,000 photos in the collection, and it was not just the photos that the Tufts held onto in their collection.
And what we have, too, are all the documents from the Tufts family. They saved everything. And, of course, you go back, it's a time when everything was written and everything was kept. And we have ledgers from the hotels. We have personal letters from the Tufts family members to each other.
With every picture, document, and memory of the new historic town, it's hard to realize that Tufts had the vision to transform this barren land into the ideal village in only 6 months.
He bought the land, he went to Olmsted. Warren Manning came down here and he said, let's make this look like what I want it to be. And there wasn't anything here. It was in the middle of the Carolina desert, the pine barrens, and the trees had been logged, or the turpentine industry had stripped them of their bark and they died. So it was sand and scrub oaks. And he looked at it and said, this can be my beautiful village.
The walking tour book has maps and pictures of Pinehurst to get you through the village. To learn more on the history of Pinehurst, the golf courses, or the book tour, you can go to the Tufts Archives in the village or online. We have a link on our site, unctv.org/NCNow. In statewide headlines, the North Carolina Division of Motor Vehicles is working to educate vehicle owners about a new program. Tag and Tax Together is the result of a law passed in 2005. The program makes vehicle property taxes due at the same time as license renewals. The regulation is set to go into effect later this year. For more information, visit the DMV's website and click on Tag and Tax Together. 88 soldiers from Fort Bragg will be marching in President Obama's second inaugural parade later this month. The soldiers are members of the 1st Battalion, 319th Airborne Field Artillery Regiment. About 160 additional troops from the base will also travel to Washington to provide support for the inaugural activities. Now here's a look at tomorrow's weather. We'll see some rain and partly to mostly cloudy conditions in the mountains and the Piedmont, with sunshine along most of the coast. Temperatures will continue their warm-up with highs in the 60s. Duke Energy is planning to request another rate increase soon. Officials filed notice with the North Carolina Utilities Commission saying they plan to put in for a rate increase early next month. Duke Energy representatives say the increase will be used to pay for maintenance and upgrades to their systems. Now here's a look at what happened on Wall Street today. One of 3 athletes chosen to represent North Carolina and the United States in the 2013 Special Olympics World Winter Games is preparing for competition. Some 3,300 athletes will be competing in South Korea this month. Producer Miracle King hit the rink with one of the fastest Special Olympic skaters in the country.
Did you catch that? Okay, we'll show you again. You might have missed that blur across your screen, and with reason. At the Extreme Ice Center in Indian Trail, Rory Canaan is focused.
Focus on speed skating is keep your head up and just make your sharp turns, just make good crossovers and stuff, and gotta make good speed on the inside.
You see, he's trying to break top speed during practice ahead of the 2013 Special Olympics World Winter Games.
I'm really quick and I can skate faster.
He'll tell you he's a pretty special athlete, and at 16, he's one of only 4 that have been chosen to represent our state in the games in South Korea.
It's really kind of really amazing. I've just never been a career before, but I'm just gonna go up against these really talented skaters I've ever seen.
His coach, Tappy Dallinger, says though one of the youngest of the more than 3,300 competing in the World Winter Games, Rory's in line to set some records at the competition.
He can go around the 111 course in about 15 seconds, which is the entire rink in 15 seconds.
But Rory hasn't always been so comfortable on the ice.
I have been with Rory since he was 8 years old, and he started on the ice. And it's remarkable how far he's come. He started out basically just walking on the ice, and his feet literally would just walk all the way around the track.
Oh, he was pitiful. At the beginning, he was just, it was pitiful.
Rory's mom says he's had to deal with more than challenges in the rink. From birth until he was about 4, his family has been skating around the issue that he might be mentally challenged.
Kindergarten. He is considered learning disabled. He has comprehension issues.
But that challenge, Stephanie Canaan says, has been met through constant support at home, in school, and from his coach on the ice.
Tappy got a hold of him 2nd grade. He was 10. And she's the one that he had never been on skates before. She put him on skates, and away he went.
Since then, he's dominated in the rink.
He is up with the average high school hockey boys now. He actually plays on a high school hockey boys team.
Rory's skills grew so fast over the years that he subsequently won a regional competition that put him in line to compete in the World Games.
He'll be in 3 different races. He's in a 333-meter race, which is 3 laps around. He's in a 500-meter race, which is 4.5 laps around. And then he's in a 777-meter race, and that is 7 laps around.
It's been a smooth ride for Rory up until last year, when his life hit a wall that could have challenged his will to win.
His father passed away unexpectedly just about a year ago, and he was a really big supporter of Rory. He's the one that helped introduce him to the ice.
This is a picture of Rory and his dad. It was taken about 3 weeks before his dad died. It was our last family vacation.
In July of 2011, Rory's dad, Rod, died unexpectedly from an enlarged heart.
It's been rough, and we made a pact, and so he tries. Oh, he tries.
On behalf of Dad.
This cross he wears helps remind him of his father's presence.
It means is that if I miss day so much, I have to grab it, just calm your, if you're sad, they'll calm you, cool you down a little bit.
He'll have that in his mind, but I think Rory, being focused as he is, when he gets out there, he's just going to be thinking about being first over the line. He just wants to win.
But Rory has more than the potential to earn gold to encourage him. He says the memory of his father is the best motivator of all.
That gives you the boost to keep me confidence, like that so Daddy always be there. That's my confidence. So Daddy's always there and watch me over. I'm going for gold medal to if I try my best to get gold, to make my dad proud for it.
Trying despite all odds is ultimately the life lesson Rory's coach says the Special Olympics organization wants every athlete to learn as they gather to compete this winter.
Rory has come so far, and other athletes can really learn outside lessons from what they learn from the sports. And whether it's ice skating or it's floor hockey or it's track and field, the discipline that they learn through sports, the idea that the Special Olympics motto says, if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. I think that's wonderful because everybody, as long as you try, isn't that what it's about?
In Indian Trail, I'm Miracle King.
Online donations are being collected to help send athletes to the Special Olympics World Games. To find out how you can contribute or volunteer with Special Olympics North Carolina, visit our website. It may be true that one person's trash is another's treasure. Asheboro artist Mike Durham sees possibilities in what most of us call scrap. Kelly McCullen travels to Randolph County to see how old metal gets a new life.
Mike Durham is a retired public school art teacher. He's learned to bring life back into old scrap metal and things you find lying around that can be best described as whatnots.
99% of it is stuff that is all scrap. It's either headed to the recycle center or I've been in it long enough now to where it's not unusual for me to come back home after going to lunch and finding a pile of metal that somebody's dropped off because they know I could use it for something. Old bicycles, motorcycle tanks.
For Mike, his artistic challenge is in the design. The building of his metal sculptures becomes almost second nature.
A lot of farm equipment, a lot of old car parts. Those are bodies at some point in time up there. My favorite part about it is trying to figure out what to put together to make something. As far as, you know, the actual putting it together, it's okay. It's mindless in a way, but the figuring, the engineering part of it is the part I really enjoy. You're in another zone. You'll be working on stuff and not realize it's 2 hours past supper time because you're getting into it, but the rest of the world just kind of disappears.
Mike's work looks easy. It looks obvious.
Just basically an old Electrolux vacuum cleaner with a strainer, I guess that's what you call it, and these are little shovels from a little garden tool, children's garden tool. These are the spigots in your shower.
Is this a mouse?
Yeah, it's going to be a mouse, yeah.
But looks are deceiving. You obviously aren't a traditional thinker.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
I mean, is it okay to say, wow, that's a little offbeat?
Yeah, well, that's great.
You like that?
Oh, yeah, that's super, yeah. When people see my work, they look at it and say, oh, that can do that. It wouldn't take, you could probably do that in a day. And I probably spent 4 months on this piece just, working it. And usually I let things kind of percolate. I'll get things going. I'll try something new. I don't like the size of this, and then I go back and change. I change things 50 times before I actually finally put it together.
How hard do you bite your tongue when someone said, "Oh, you just did that over the weekend"?
That's
an ego hit, right?
That is an ego hit, but but again, I think most of the people who buy my stuff do understand it does take longer than what you think it would anyway.
This is a rake. A car rim,
yes.
Sheet metal, rebar.
Right.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what this is?
Is it off of a record player?
Yeah, it's an old Victrola. In fact, that was the beginning of this piece. Somebody gave me that piece. It was in bad shape, but that's the thing that inspired me. And I have some morning glories going on the other side of the building, and I thought, this looks just like it. And then from there, I had some pieces that, the top is off of a MG air filter cleaner. And it looked like a head, and then from there I just added the Freon tank.
Mike says his metal sculptures are meant to be enjoyed. Many people buy them to enhance their gardens or their lawns. And Mike says men and women can look at his individual works of art and see completely different things.
Everybody can associate with it. The guys come up and look at the pieces and go, that's off of Harley Davidson. The wives come up and go, oh, isn't it cute? Of course, a lot of guys go, oh, I used to have that, and I wish I kept those things. I could have done that, and I say, well, go do it.
It's that doing it that makes all the difference. That is turning potential junk into treasure. This is how Mike Durham spends his retirement.
Check out Mike's work at his website, MikeDurhamArt.com. Gaspard Louis started a dance company with a vision to create, perform, and teach movement that is physically inventive, emotionally dynamic, and inspiring to people of all ages and backgrounds. Producer Erica Stark-Knight visited the Durham-based dance company and sat down to talk with the creative force behind it.
My name is Gaspard Louis. I am the founder and artistic director of Gaspard & Dancers. I was born and raised in Haiti, and I moved to the U.S. when I was about 13. I went to Montclair State University, where I took my first dance class, and I switched my major from business to dance.
After graduation, Gaspard received multiple dance scholarships before joining the New York dance company, Pilabolus.
It is very well known throughout the globe, and they work mostly with shape, balance, counterbalance technique. A lot of partnering is involved in with Pilabolus.
After a successful 10-year run with the New York Dance Company, Gaspard and his wife decided to relocate their family to Durham, North Carolina.
We have a little 4-year-old, and we wanted to find a place that's a little bit more calm than being in Manhattan. And we thought, well, since we've been coming to North Carolina every year for the American Dance Festival, or ADF, I think it would be a good place to actually test the waters. 3 years later, we're here. My wife is now the head of the American Dance Festival, so I teach creative movement throughout Durham for most of the kids who wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to take dance class.
Tell me how Gaspard & Dancers came to be.
I started Gaspard & Dancers in 2009, and it mostly came to be because of the fact that I was teaching those kids creative movement. And I figured, well, why not do something even bigger and start a dance company? We have one big annual performance every year since its inception here at Duke University at Reynolds Industry Theater. But I've also do some smaller venues for the North Carolina Dance Alliance, which is a group that actually catered to emerging choreographers.
When selecting dancers for his company, Gaspard says talent was not the only factor he took into consideration.
One of the ways that I would choose somebody to be a part of this group is personality, because we work in such close proximity to each other. Therefore, for me, the positive energy is important as well as being creative.
Gaspard is currently working on his master's degree in dance, and as a part of his thesis, he had the opportunity to meet 90-year-old Haitian dance legend Jean-Léon Destiné.
Souke, which means to shake in Creole, came from actually the earthquake that took place in Haiti. I've always wanted to choreograph something, but I've always been a little bit uneasy about it because I wanted to make sure that I do a good job, and I didn't want to, and I wanted to do it justice, and you know, I wasn't sure how the right approach to come about it until I did an interview with Jean-Léon Destiné. He's used to be a real famous Haitian choreographer, dancer back in the 40s. And through my interview with him, I found the courage and the strength to actually come up and do Souke.
Since moving to North Carolina, Gaspard has spent countless hours in rehearsal studios like this one, creating his signature style. Although some of his work does tell a specific story, he prefers the audience to determine their own meaning behind each dance.
When somebody comes to see the piece, you may see something else, but as far as I'm concerned, what prompts the movements, the choreography actually stems from the earth moving underneath you, people being pulled from under the rubble, the chaos, people running around trying to find a safe place. You will see a lot of these elements in Souke. As far as a Gaspard style, I think being an emerging company, I'm still emerging. I'm still finding ways to solidify a Gaspard style. I'm growing, and I'm learning every day, even from my dancers, and having different talents come in together with me, and so kind of like, you know, get the raw material and then just kind of smooth it out.
Capitalizing on the ongoing success of this treasured art form, North Carolina continues to bring amazing dance to center stage.
Gaspard and Dancers is currently on tour with the North Carolina Dance Festival. You can check out their upcoming performance this Friday, January 11th at UNC Wilmington. For more information, call 1-800-732-3643. Well, that's our show for tonight. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening, everyone.
Quality public television is made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNCTV.